Ready, go.
So we're starting. Hello everyone, welcome back to Nurse Studio. Adeeka Tariq!
Thank you for inviting me.
This is such an achievement. So I'm going to tell a little story for you that's seeing us right now. Thank you so much for watching. So me and Adeeka, we were flatmates.
Yeah.
In her year 2, my year 0.
Yeah.
Because I was doing foundation.
Yeah.
And then we just never stopped talking to each other. One day we did a big brunch in our kitchen.
Oh yes, we did. Yeah.
It was delicious. It was amazing.
I think it was one of the birthdays, wasn't it? Yeah.
I think it was, well,
one of our flatmates.
Yeah.
Birthday. Yeah.
No, it was ours.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Neela, she prepared everything for us, like
big.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember that now. Yeah.
Oh my god, it was lovely. Nice. If I find a picture, I'll put it here.
Yeah.
Right. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is Adeeka without the scrubs?
Well, I'm a quiet person, to be honest. I try not to do many things. I like to relax, be on my own at times to, get rid of all that stress that I have. Like listening to music. So yeah, I do that. Nothing fancy or, like gardening is something that I quite like enjoying. I do that when I go home. So that's all.
Really?
Yeah.
What have you been planting?
So it's actually my dad does it, so he does like all the vegetables, so I kind of go and help him sometimes, but that's all.
That's cute.
Yeah.
How did you ended up working in emergency care? Did you always knew that was your zone?
So nursing journey was a different one actually. So I started as healthcare assistant years ago. When I say years, like 5-6 years ago. I started as a healthcare assistant, then obviously I did nursing. I did a placement about I think it was about 2 months in emergency department, and I just enjoyed it, so I applied for it, and here I am today. So 2.5 years later,
yeah,
still there.
So what do you think it's do you feel like you're getting to a point where you're exhausted, or you can't see yourself in other departments? Or let me just put this.
I'm not exhausted. I mean, I have my shifts where where I feel like, okay, that's it, and when you have a stressful shift and you just start to look, that's what I actually do. So I start to look for a different job, but I enjoy it. Once that shift is over, I don't feel like I'm exhausted or anything. A new day, new start. So I actually enjoy it. So no, I don't think I can move to a different department or area or even a ward to be a nurse there. I think that's just not me. Yeah, not me for now.
I thought, yeah, option changed, but I think yeah.
I mean, so far I haven't. It's never crossed my mind that I'm gonna change emergency department.
Yeah.
It's just every shift is different. So you start your shift off very slow at times, because morning shifts are really slow at times because there's not many patients. And then as the day goes on, it's so busy, and it's sometimes everything is happening all at once, and just keeps you going, and your shift is just gone. So yeah.
Oh my god, I'm so excited to start my job. For people who are might not listening but might not understand, what does working across UTC, pardon, which stands for Urgent Treatment Center, resus and triage, actually involve day to day?
So like I said, like every shift would be different. So you start off, very easy, but resus is a very high acuity end where you get really sick patients, right? So you'll get intubed patients, or you'll get someone who's like different with different condition but life threatening conditions, so you'll get them moved there. And basically it's like so hands on with all the doctors, nurses, healthcare assistant working together. Whereas at the triage, you kind of like not diagnose them, but then you put them in a direction where to go, right? So UTC, you can stream them. So when you're triaging, you can stream them to different departments, or even different specialities. That's what triage is. With UTC, UTC is minor treatments. So
It's so hot.
minor, it's, oh my god, we're gonna start that again. So UTC is
Just
like,
find this.
oh god. So UTC is urgent treatment center that where minor injuries can be managed. So like bony injuries can be managed there. So yeah, and we have like your own GPs. You have your own emergency doctors even there um, to treat those patients with minor injuries.
Do you get to do rotations inside ED, like to go to peds and everything, to go to so there is another like department which is so imagine, do you have like, there is this department
Mm-hmm.
which is an extension of ED, so it's called EAU, is it, emergency assessment unit,
Yeah,
and there's like 3, 4, and I think it's 5 as well, isn't it?
yeah.
Yes, so it's like 3 extensions, which is just like kind of, it looks like wards.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have pediatrics as well.
Yeah.
Do you have a rotation in those?
No, so how emergency department works, where I work, is how we have different areas within the department. So where you can treat the patients, assessments, and then you can even stream them. We have research, we have ambulance bay where you get to offload all the ambulances. But with EAUs is they kind of like they're part of emergency, but they are kind of wards as well at the same time, because whatever we have as in patient wise, we move them to different areas. So like EAU 3, 4, 5. 3 is most of the time it's medical, so you move patients that are medical patients, you move them to EAU 3, so they get seen there and then they get discharges from there. And then 4, 5, they tend to stay there and then they get moved to a different ward on the hospital side of it. So is EAU 4 as well. So yeah, they kind of, they are with ED, but they are different.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's kind of like by acuity as well.
yeah,
So like if it's surgical, it goes there.
yeah,
If it's, yeah, it
yeah.
depends.
For surgical patients, we have different area allocated. So yeah, it's a bit
Yeah.
different. Yeah, but still part of it to help ED flow basically better.
Right, let's move on to our part 2 of the podcast, which is the main interview and the frontline perspective.
Yeah.
Let's dive into the madness, the adrenaline, the chaos, and the things that make you laugh when you shouldn't. You should probably cry.
Yeah.
What's a shift in ED that you will never forget?
I had a shift. Started out as normal. I had a patient who walked in. They walked in and we assisted them to a wheelchair, and they were so poorly that they never made it out. So I think that's something I will never forget. The patient wouldn't know that they're not gonna make it out back. And I think that was a really like a learning point where we take life for granted, and we think that everything is happening, we might not be the one, but you never know what.
So, what was this case without
So
saying
it was
confidentiality issues and everything?
yeah, so walked in really poorly, assisted to a chair, blood's done, and potassium was really high, so it's lactate, so it was really poorly and never made it out of the hospital.
And you were in the triage.
I was, yeah. Yeah. So you never know what patients are coming in with. You have to be very active. You have to be very vigilant to be
Oh
able
my
to.
god, I love ED. I
to
can't.
yeah, it's. I think emergency department is a department where you get to see like a whole lot of hospital in one area.
Yeah.
So you'll see so many different specialities,
You
and
see all of them. You
yeah,
see
you
all of
see all
them.
of them literally, and you have to just work around it to make better patient care. So yeah,
You never know how it's
you
gonna
never know.
get. What's the difference in the mindset between working in triage versus resus?
So again, resus is something that's, you'll see really unwell patients. You'll see lots of traumas coming in. You'll see lots of trauma transfers to us, because obviously we are
Yeah.
trauma center. So we get like a lot of patients. Whereas triage, again, you'll see a lot of unwell patients, but then you can again stream them to different areas to avoid long waits, and yeah, so that they're getting the right care.
I feel like if you ever watched 24 Hours in A&E,
Yeah, it
this is
has
kind of,
similar, yeah,
it's so
yeah,
similar.
but in a real
Trauma
life,
call coming,
yeah,
ring the red
yeah,
red telephone buzzing, you know, trauma call is
yeah,
coming to town.
that's true.
And it's just like, it's just such an
It
experience
is, yes, it is.
to
I,
see everyone just like kind of disorganized, but everyone is so organized and knows what they have to
mm.
do pretty much all the times.
Yeah, I think with emergency department is that you have to. It's a team effort, so it's not just doctors or it's not just nurses or it's not healthcare assistants. You have to all work together to be able to provide that care and that sort of busy environment. So you have to work like collaboratively to be able to provide a safe care. So yeah.
How do you handle seeing people on their worst day, maybe every single shift?
Um. So you have to be. You're human at the end of the day. You get emotional. You will be providing a care to someone who's really poorly or their loved ones. But again, you're a human at the end of the day, and it's okay to cry. It's okay to let it out, because if you don't have um, those emotions, then I don't think it's a right job for you. And you just let it out. You have to be strong there where when you're providing the care to the patients. But when you leave the room, go have 5 minutes. If it makes you feel better, do cry and come back as a back to the normal ground. So
Mm.
yeah.
What's one thing you wish public understood about emergency nurses?
So it's never an easy thing to explain to patients when they walk in, because emergency is for emergency, patients walking in with certain conditions that can be managed outside. We prioritize acuity wise as well again. So we go through who are very unwell patients, then who are they're not life threatening conditions for them. So I hope they understand that. But I think that again leads to waiting hours a bit longer. So I think if they could understand that, that'd be better. But again, we're there to provide the care. So here we are.
Mm.
So
You see interesting people coming in.
yeah.
I once had this man that said, I'm a doctor and I'm really unwell.
Yeah,
His obs were all fine. He was just having a really bad panic attack.
yeah.
And because he was a doctor, he was like, I know something is really wrong. And it's just like,
I
you
think
know,
sometimes, again, working in a healthcare profession doesn't mean that, we would not mention you, but I think it's something you basically understand the whole system and you know it. So I think it does get misused, but then again,
yes.
it depends how
But it's not
consider
too bad,
things.
is it? People come when they're really unwell.
Yeah,
Most of them.
most of the time, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has working in ED changed the way you see life or even people?
I would say yes, because like I said, just give an example. When you walk in, you never know whether you're gonna make it out. You see a lot of trauma or RTCs, or the collisions, road traffic collisions. You never know how life is so precious, and we take it for granted. Yes, we get tired. Yes, we have our own life bits going on, but life is really precious.
It made
So
me
do take
more
it
scared
serious.
as
Yeah.
well. Made me more scared of, I don't know, I wouldn't jump off a cliff with a rope.
Yeah. It's with how I see it, so working in emergency department, you'll see many different types of patients. So you'll have one cubicle, you'll have someone who's battling for life, and then next door you have a family, there to support their loved ones, to they know that they're gonna get better, and then the other one is just you know in a very last hours of days of life. But that's how life is. You have to be very vigilant about your life, and you have to be doing something that's very useful, not for yourself but people's around you. So you have to be very thoughtful of that.
Yeah.
So
So I've got a question that is not on the script, but I always wanted to ask this because, to be really honest, it's been on my brain.
yeah.
It's been a difficult question for me because, as a possible nurse in ED,
Yeah.
and you being a nurse in ED,
Yeah.
we are also human, so we sometimes require the use of ED.
Yes.
So the other day I was having a really bad chest pain,
Hmm.
and then I worked it out. I was just really anxious with all these finals and everything.
Yeah.
But I was like, imagine going to ED
Yeah.
with, like, I don't know, like something a bit weird.
Yeah.
Like your colleagues are gonna ask you, "What are you doing here, Dika?"
So I think like you said, stress can make you have that sort of feeling that you're probably getting chest pain. You're probably thinking the worst. I
Mm.
think too much knowledge is also not good, because you kind of start to self-diagnose, and you kind of, which is not a good thing. However, say in your case, if you were having chest pain, if you were to go to hospital or emergency department, we would still do your ECG, and if that's fine, we'll reassure you, and we'll
I
be
don't know, but won't
fit
you
you
be like,
back.
oh, my co-worker is gonna see my boobs or something, or you're gonna insert a catheter, or I don't know.
So I think confidentiality is always maintained regardless.
You
So
think?
privacy is always there. Those are basic things for our nurses, and we don't. When you come in, we see you as patients. We don't judge you, or we
But how would you feel? Do
I
you?
think again, having that relationship with your colleagues, that doesn't allow you to be feeling that way, because you know that if you work with them, you know that confidentiality is always there. Data protection is always there. Your privacy is always maintained. So that goes for all basic nurses. And they wouldn't see you as your colleague when you're there. Yes, of course they will care in that way, but those things are there regardless of you being their colleagues or not. That's always maintained. So I think just be you just have to be trustworthy, and maintain that throughout.
Mm. So, what's something about the job that nobody warned you about?
It's handling difficult situations where you are providing care to the patients, and you have difficult patients. You'll get patients who will have ongoing mental health issues and not understanding what's going on, and they would shout at you, they will verbally abuse you. I think that's something I never thought I would come across in nursing, but I see it on daily basis now. But you just have to be
On
strong
daily
and
basis.
yes. So I think it's a sensitive, I guess, a topic which needs to be discussed, but obviously we'll keep it to very basics. But um, I think that's something that's really difficult on daily basis. Not because it's not manageable, but it's because you sometimes you don't know how to react in certain situations. So they'll be like swearing at you. They will be not being nice to you. So yeah,
Traumatized.
yeah,
A
mm,
lot of trauma, not just on the calls.
yeah.
Mental trauma. Um, you've got seconds to make judgments sometimes.
Mhm.
How do you stay calm and sharp?
So I think when you start nursing, you kind of build that as you go along, because it it's not that you're not going to react to it. You just have to be calm and composed, and if you have a good team, obviously comes back to the team to manage it. If if you start to panic or anything, then you have your team to come in
Yeah.
and they help to support you.
It's a lot of teamwork,
It
isn't it?
is. Nursing is always a teamwork, especially if you're working in such chaos environment. It's always a team effort.
I think you also build that as you go, isn't it?
Yes.
Like you're trained for that.
Yeah.
What's the biggest myth about A&E that needs to be busted?
So it's like people walk in with really minor things, expecting things to happen then and there. It doesn't happen like that. Again, we prioritize priorities, acuity wise. So yes, be careful of that. Things do take time. Blood tests do take time. Investigation do take time. So yeah, it's not a walking in thing and getting it done like that.
Mm,
So yeah,
we wish.
yeah.
What gets you through a rough day or a draining night shift?
So for me, I think coffee is the only thing that keeps me going.
Starbucks.
Yeah,
Is it
or
Starbucks you
a
like?
Costa, whatever coffee is.
Just get
It
me
just keeps
anything.
me going. I think have a coffee and just carry on.
Just regular
It's
coffee.
just a normal decaf coffee or even
I think every time I see you, you're holding one.
yeah. I think you need it. I mean, I think I feel as if it gets to a point where it doesn't work for you, but I can even drink coffee and go to sleep. It doesn't affect me. I think it's just the pleasure of having a coffee.
Mm.
It just keeps you going. So yeah.
What keeps you coming back even on the days that break you a little?
Patients appreciation, so they would appreciate you, they would thank you for helping them to make that day go better. I think it's always their appreciation, making sure that we as a staff, you you'll have patients that are they will criticize you for certain things, and then you have patients that will really thank you for taking care of them, and even then their loved ones, they will be thanking you to look after them. So I think that will keep me going, and obviously it's a profession that I chose, so I knew that I was a caring person all the time, so I'm not gonna just let it
Yeah.
go just because I had a day. I think it goes with all the profession that you do in life. So yeah, you keep going, you
Mm.
don't stop,
You don't
you
stop.
overcome it, and
And I
you
think that's really good that you don't stop. And
yeah,
I'm gonna justify this
yeah,
by saying that it's really good that your day doesn't stop
yeah,
and it's chaos because you don't have much time to, well, that's a disadvantage. Like you don't have much time to do critical judgment
mhm,
and it could be a mistake. But the good bits about it is
yeah,
that you don't have time to gossip. There's barely any gossip.
yeah,
There's barely any too much attachment or too much intensivity with certain co-workers.
mhm,
It's just like work, pure team work, and that's it.
yeah.
Raw and as natural as it could be. It's not like a lot of bullying or.
I think, well, especially my team, I think when we walk in, we're there to, we have certain things to follow. We follow the rules. We have to make sure that we're following work guidelines as well as NMC guidelines. When we walk in, we kind of leave what's happened in our life before work, so we just go there with the work hat. They say, there's a saying that when you walk into work, you have your work hat on. When you go home, you have your home hat on. So don't ever bring your personal stuff going to work, because that's not gonna, it's not gonna be a safe practice, because you're gonna be keep thinking about what's happened in your personal life. It's not gonna be safe for patients, so don't mix it.
I
So
don't think you can
likewise,
think about your personal life as you're
yeah,
going through because it's
no,
too chaos.
yeah. So I think some
It's too much.
people do carry it on with, but it's not something that's gonna help you. So it's just gonna make your day worse and long.
Mm,
So just go and crack on and come back and restart again your
that's it.
personal life. Yeah.
That's it. This is professionalism in person.
Yeah. I think you learn it. It's a learning process. You get to a stage where you'll see a lot of mistakes happen. You'll be disappointed. There would be days you want to quit, but it's a consistent that'll keep you going. So
Mm, it's not
you,
just one day.
yeah,
So we reached the final part of our podcast, which
yeah.
is gonna be burning now. Quick fire round.
Right.
Lights, sirens, and answers. Okay, Adika, you know the drill. This
Yeah.
is fire round.
Uh huh.
Fast answers, no overthinking. Let's go.
Sure. A bit nervous about that, but let's go.
Reese's adrenaline or triage chaos?
Research adrenaline.
Most annoying A&E question from a patient.
How long is it going to take?
Best part of night shifts.
The midnight time.
Why?
It kind of calms down a little bit, so you have a minute to think.
Song that gets you in a work mood.
I don't listen to music that will keep me going to work mode, so yeah, not not that way.
One item you always have in your pocket.
A pen, be a stolen pen or my pen. So a pen.
UTC, calm or chaos?
Chaos.
Describe ED in a word.
Chaotic.
Worst advice you've heard from healthcare.
It's not worth it.
Favorite post-shift food.
Always like some sort of burger or chips.
Yeah. If you weren't a nurse, what would you be?
Probably like a designer.
That's it.
That's it. Yeah. Well, thank you for having me.
Big love to Adeeka for
Thank you.
bringing the raw frontline energy to Nurse Studio. Please subscribe our channel. This is Nurse Studio, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.